I guess I'm going to say it's my honor to introduce Don Geiger. I think everybody here knows Don. I don't have any idea how long Don's been turning, but when I started turning about 15 years ago, he used to stay all the way across the room and watch me. Now, I don't know what that meant, but he's taught a lot of people to turn. He's a robust dealer. If you want to spend, a little bit of money, and by the top of the line, he'll say you won. And he's going to do something unique for us tonight.
You mean I'm going to screw it up?
That's okay. I want to see all the hands of anybody that's never screwed up on a lathe. If you've never screwed up, raise your hand, please. There you go.
But I've turned once.
25 years. Yeah, I was lucky enough to get into this at middle age.
Mike?
Yeah, I'm local here in Gainesville. It's kind of nice to go to the demo, not to drive hours and hours and overnight and stuff. What I'm going to do is we're going to work on trying to produce 3-wing bowls. I call them tri-point bowls. This kind of stuff. Where I don't know where the camera is, but what it is, there's another one here that you can show you these real quickly, and I'm like this. I tend to make a small foot on a lot of my pieces, whether they're bowls or whatever. Nothing I make hardly is intended to be used to put keys in or crayons or food necessarily. So having a very small bowl, bottom on the bowl, to me gives it a little uplift and a little nicer presentation. And another thing that's very important to me is trying to extrapolate this curve through the foot and above the table it'll be resting on without being interrupted by the table. So it's kind of one way I like to explain that is if you took a bowling ball and you put it on the table, it's going to roll all over the place, right? It's not going to just sit still. And but the bowling ball's got a nice curve that doesn't enter the surface of the table. It's on top of the table. It's nice. But then I say, well, I don't want it to roll, so I'm going to cut a facet on that. So I've got a single facet on a ball, and I put it on the table. It's really stable. But now the line comes down and slams into the table. Comes over here and crawls out of the table and comes back up the other side. It interrupts your eye. And so my goal is to do it like if I had a ball and I put a napkin ring under it. And it elevated that curve above the surface it's going to be resting on. And so it goes right through the foot. And if you looked at a lot of, I don't want to force you to do this, but if you looked at my pieces I've done over the years, I'm always trying to attain that, whether it's a hollow form or a bowl or whatever. And sometimes, people will look at some of my work like this and they'll go, wow, that's really, really thin. Well, it's usually because I screwed up out here at the edge, and they have to make everything consistent from there on through. And so it wasn't necessarily my plan, but if you can execute it, it looks really kind of cool. And again, it doesn't matter if something's a 1/16 of an inch thick if you're not going to put stuff in it. This one's painted and airbrushed. It's got a little gold leaf on it and stuff, and that's kind of contrary to what I usually do. I usually leave everything natural. I've used a variety of things. To do this project, to get those 3 wings, basically what we're going to do is we're going to start with a perfect cube. And the more perfect it is, the better. Perfect meaning that these sides are square to each other on all surfaces, and that the length of each side is equal. So it's a perfect cube. And what we're going to do is suspend this cube on the lathe and pinch it between centers so that there's a point here and a point there. And if you'll see, you look at a cube, I've got 8 points. There's 8 points on this cube. The bowls had 3, so I got to get rid of 5 of them. Okay? And if you've been in wood turning very much at all, or had some training or whatever, you'll find that people are always going on about grain direction and the direction you ought to cut and do all this stuff. Well, this just screws the whole thing, because what happens is, when by positioning it in this way, the grain's diagonal. It's at a bias. So this is your grain. Because what grain is in a wood is just a bunch of straws all bundled together. And if you put this here, it's running in the direction that the grain's running. And you can see that it's diagonal. So it's a bias. Don't call it that. So you kind of throw all this stuff about which way am I be going in the grain direction, against the grain direction, with the grain direction, and all that. You just got to get it to turn it. I guess in a sense, it's kind of nice to be that free. Yes, sir.
Did you ever cut the cube in such a way that the grain was not parallel to the edges?
You would waste all. He's asking if I've ever cut the cube so that the grain direction is running, say, horizontally or vertically. And that could be done, but you're going to waste a tremendous amount out of the block. I've drawn it up and never really pursued it because I was wasting 75% of the material to make that block. But it could certainly be done. The way I am doing this is I take it to John Ketch's. He's a really good, flatwood guy, and I said, John, can I come over? I got this project for you. I go over there, and he chopped this out for me, which was really nice. Did 2 of them for me. John and I have these technical conversations on the telephone. I'm not sure either one of us understand what the other was saying, but it's kind of fun, I have a hard time understanding what he's saying because I'm not as astute at flatwoods as she is by any means. To position this between centers, there's 2 different ways you can do it. I watched some videos, in fact, yesterday. Just now, how do other people do this? You got to look at a video, and they put the corner right dead in the center of the number 2 Morse taper hole on the headstock, and then you put the tailstock with the center up against this end. Yeah, and I'll make sure the point wasn't in the way. So my concern is I've had some slippage, where the piece spun in the opening of the spindle. And so I wanted to kind of improve that. I can't leave things alone. So I turned this piece of wood, I roughly turned a 45-degree angle into there. And then I wanted a perfect 45, so I put this in a Jacob's chuck, and it's a 45-degree chamfering bit from a router. Turned the lathe up wide open and ran it in there and trued up that hole, so it was truly a 45-degree angle. Then I took a piece of very heavy 80 grit paper that was cloth back and glued it into the hole. And I wanted to, because it wasn't going to dry immediately, I made a little cone that fit in there and pressed it in with the tailstock so that I left it a day or a day and a half or something. So hopefully that'll stay in there. But I had another piece in there before where I put the hook from the hook loop Velcro in there, and I put cloth, the loop back sanding disc in there, and it ended up spinning on it, and it ruined all the teeth on the hook side. So I had to rip all that out. I called Ernie and told him I want my money back. He goes, well, as long as you haven't messed it up yourself. And earlier, I I made another attempt at this. I keep trying to come up with some way to do this. And so I turned this, and I ended up putting grooves in here, here, and here, 120 degrees apart. And it worked more or less. I think it could be significantly improved. John, you got time? No, I'm kidding. I'm going to abandon this project, but it's kind of fun to show. So, but this block of wood has got some cracks in it, okay? And I put super glue in. I had to borrow super glue because I don't ever have any. And when you're trying to decide which point to put where, grain direction doesn't really matter. So you start looking at features, and it's got some wormholes, which is kind of neat. When I'm turning this, I've got to turn this up in the cylinder here till I can get a big enough space for my chuck tenon. So I've got this long cylindrical thin piece of wood coming out, and if these cracks that are in here are positioned such that it would run through that, it's just going to come off. And so the people up here in the cheap seats will have an exciting time. So what I did was I kind of figured out which one I wanted to try using, and I put a piece of tape on. Harold was kind enough to bring a couple of blocks. I think what I want to do is turn this one, and I'll take the best block. You have the other one. It's wonderful, you know, when your friends start pitching in, but you know, I probably shouldn't do that or we won't pitch in again. So get in here.
And Don, you have the pin out of the tailstock in that?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you using a cup on your tail?
Yeah,
You have a pin?
Jason's question is, am I using the nose or the end of the live center? And I am. So you take the point out of the live center. This happens to be a one-way. It could be a robust as well. But they have a little sharp cut edge on the way around here. And if you take the pin out or back it up on the robust, then you can just push that right up on here, and you can see it works very nicely. I don't want to put excessive amounts of pressure on this because, again, if that stem gets too much pressure on it, it might snap. And so maybe it goes about that far. I'm not sure. I remember being at Bell one time, and I think a piece, somebody was turning one like 4 rows back. But, so, I've got on my smock. I use a glove on my left hand, especially, almost always, but especially when I'm turning anything that's got a wing on it. If you see that Velcro right there, that is like a warning that you're getting close to the wing. You'll hear and you're like, instead of it being your wrist or your skin. These are weightlifting gloves. I enjoy going to the store and buying them because the little college girls, you know, behind the register, oh, you lift weights? Oh yeah, I wore out for a pair already. And they're like, oh. It really doesn't happen like that. It's just in your dreams. Face shield, ultimately important. Get a good face shield, don't be chintzy. You either spend the money on your dentist, with your dentist, or you spend your money on a good face shield. These come from Paula. They're called BIOS. And it's got a framework that comes down here that kind of gives you at least some sense that maybe you're protecting your throat as well. But if you've ever been hit with a piece of wood, you'll be glad that you have this on. And you will eventually get hit with a piece of wood, and you can take these out. And there's non-fogging and there's a non-fogging shield. Probably been in the shop. Been a big head. So I get used to doing this later. I want y'all to look at the picture on this. See can you see the shape? Isn't that cool?
Very cool.
I'm not sure what that is, but it's cool. Well, really, what would you call that?
Spinning cube.
Well, you don't want to adjust your banjo or your tool rest to get anywhere near this thing when it's turning. I'll get used to this. So you position your tool rest height so that the cutting edge of the tool is the center. Don't position the top of the tool rest at the center, you position the tool rest, the cutting edge. So that when I would use the tool horizontally, then it comes out about the center. And you can feel the difference if you're too high or if you're too low. After a while, you get used to that sensation. While I'm doing this, I'm going to try to remember to mention got the tool rest, the tool handle level, or is it at an angle? And this is the flute, which is the long open part of the tool. And I have the flute up, to the right, or to the left. And when I say right or left, it's just a matter of if I'm holding the tool. When we're training new turners, we suggest a lot of times to put the tool at a 45-degree angle. And what helps the student, when I say 45-degree angle, see that line down the middle of the tool, painted in there? When you rotate this and you start to lose sight of the line, you're about 45 degrees. When you come back here and you see that, it's kind of starting to point upward. And if you do that, a lot of times you're going to get in trouble. But if you're about to say, well, I'm going to go 45 left, do that. So that I can go here, here. The majority of the time, you're going to be 45 right, or you're going to be 45 left, and the tool handle is going to be level. And the purpose of the tool handle being level is that any pressure is coming from where the wood's contacting the tool and coming down, and it goes down and drives that force into the tool rest, through the post, through the banjo, through the lathe, and down to the floor. If I was holding the tool like this, that force would come back into me. Okay? So that's the difference between using the tool in this position and this position. If you have a traditionally ground tool, and I didn't bring one tonight, it requires that you lower the handle in order to make double contact. And so, especially when you're roughing a piece of wood, you're doing this. Well, with this, I lay it horizontally. I can hold the tool with my fingers. It drives all that force down in here. As long as I have a close, this is called the fulcrum, the point between the top of the tool rest and where the tool contacts. Okay, so the fulcrum, you don't want it way back here, because now it has leverage on you, and it wants to pull the handle up. So if you can get closer up here, you can't get right against it, but you get closer, then you'll have a lot smoother result. A tool rest is designed to have your hands on this side of it. That's the safe side of the tool rest. Anytime I make that adjustment, I want to do this before I go further with turning. And that tool rest is protecting my hand and it's giving me a place to rest my hand if I want to. And any questions about that? All right, the test will be passed out. I've done quite a few demos, and I'm kind of going against what I kind of believe in, and that is I'm not turning yet. I always like to turn first, and people are like, I'll be over here, watch me turn, all I'm going to do is talk. I understand. Then, so, even though I think that I have this time, always a good idea to read. I'm going to use the overhand, put my palm against the tool brush. It's called a comfort brush. See how I've got the tool in the right hand, where my right hand is the back hand? I'm not out there doing this. I'm doing this. Moving my body. Lift the tool handle. Gives me a lot more control. Cutting on the left hand side of the tip. Well, people talk to other people all the time, talking about being on the bevel, off the bevel, on the bevel, off the bevel. What that means is that this bevel, if it's right on the wood, I've got a smooth and in control cut. But when I'm working with an irregular surface like this, if it's hitting that bevel, I can get vibration. Okay, so if I'm off the bevel, that cutting edge is suspended, not against the wood, it's suspended so that the wood comes by and cuts it off without bouncing. So when I traditionally turn green wood, meaning pressure cuts. A friend of mine, when he first started turning, many years ago, he went to his first club meeting. And he's like, all these people talking about green wood. And he says, every tree that I ever cut, I never saw any green wood. I don't know where they're getting this stuff. He was thinking it was the color. Then I found out later he's just kind of like that. But see what I'm doing? I'm developing the stem here. And my goal is to get to a place, this is called mine. I'm not used to turning dry wood. You really don't question a lot, do you? You don't. You trust me. It's so rare. Very, very rare. Don't want to lose sight of what I'm trying to do here. Because the more I take off here, the shorter and shorter the bolt will be. But you got to have enough to make that tenon. And then I'll come out of the tenon a little bit and I will make a base step. So here is what I'm trying to do. See this tenon here? That's what the chuck's going to grip. It rests on this ledge here. And then there's this thing called a base step. And the base step is you come out to the width of the jaws, the outside diameter of the jaws, and you make another cut parallel to the axis of the lathe. And then your curve starts at that point. So we have a nice little V here. You don't want a U, you want a V. And you start curving your piece from there. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you, when you're ready to finish your piece, it gives you the opportunity to have waste stock here. Most of this, if not all of it, will go away. And this will go away down to your foot. That's why I'm talking about those little tiny feet. I'm using a tenon that big, and I turn the wood down to a base about the size of a dime. I'm not limiting, I'm not restricting myself to this diameter. Okay. It was a very valuable lesson that I learned a long, long time ago. I'm going to pass around a couple of things. I can try to turn it, I guess, and collecting for me. Randy and I have been friends for 23, 24 years. And
Don, how long would it take you to make one from start to finish?
production guy here. I don't know. I'm never in a hurry.
Okay.
I'm all about the path instead of the finish. You know, I don't think if you concentrate too much on finishing anything, a trip, a walk, wood turning, then you're not going to enjoy it as much. If you concentrate like, oh, this is really fun. I hope I don't get done too fast. I'm enjoying the heck out of this. Oh, heck, I'm finished. I gotta go mow the yard now. You know? It's really a lot more fun than mowing the yard. Of course, Ernie got a new mower, so he doesn't even want to be here. He wants to. Has he got lights on it? You can mow when you get home.
How long does it take to mow your yard?
Hey, Don, how big is your base step? Is it like a rule for
The base step begins at the outer diameter of your jaw and runs again, it comes out. So you do the tenon, come out 90 degrees, and you go left 90 degrees, and then you start your curve. And so it's about the diameter of the outside of the jaws. And the thickness of it, if you don't call that, from here over, can vary. It depends on, and if you look at your curve of your piece, and you go, wow, you know, I need to make that a little longer. So you just come in and make it a little longer, come and bring your curve back out again. And Mr. Ellsworth taught me that early on, and I've cherished that for a long, long time. Just turn this by hand. I don't always do that, so you'll probably catch me not doing it every time, but I should. There's a stem here. The diameter of it is pretty large. If there's any of that left, and try to put the piece into the cup, where the 4 jaws converge, there's simply a hole right there, right? This big fat tin stem is sitting in there. I can't find the jaws that fall away. I usually take it off. But if I have to fit it inside my jaws, the jaws are close, it'll be 7/16. But I prefer to take it off. And it's in my control. I don't want to take it off without my control. side down, the other forward side to the right. I'm riding the bell on the left side of the tool. But it works fine. You're at home by yourself, and your couch comes off and goes through your foot, then all that stuff. If you're in a demo, it's going on a good thing to do. They all start rolling, laugh, and everything. They don't like pull the front of that off. I like Jack's methods. So I'm doing measuring here. So I got a circle here in the guidance for myself. And then the other thing I have on this is the length of the pin. That pin is going to be cut that way now, and I'm going to use this to go in and determine how deeply, or how much it sticks out. I guess. So the surrounding material, how deeply it goes. This is cut so that it was resting in the jaws of the chuck. This would just barely not reach the bottom of the jaw. There's a little gap. So when I'm marking these, I put a dime or a penny or something down the bottom of the jaw, and I set this down in there and make my mark. Because the penny and the dime's not going to be in there when I come back and use it. So it suspends it a little bit. If it's resting, if that part of your tendon is resting in the bottom of your jaw, you're going to have a terrible, terrible hole. It's very likely to come to the deep thumb. Anybody remember? I like to have multiple tools in the same, so that I can just keep grinding the new tool and new tool, pressure sharpen. you measure now and it's a little too long, very long, all you just cut it off and then that's long. Having that tail stop forward, very important. Drop it all on you, and I'm not going to do it further. Always check things before you move to the next step. So you tell them, I want to make this a Yes, sir.
Why doesn't it make the grip weaker if the tenon touches the bottom of the tenon touches the chuck?
The way that these jaws are designed, they're designed so that the end of the jaws rests right here, and you tighten it around this, whether it's a parallel, I didn't mention this, a parallel or a dovetail. And if you have it resting down here, it's very likely this isn't resting as well as it should on the ends of the jaws, and so you get this movement. And I've seen them come out over and over and over again when they're not done right, correctly. So I encourage you to do it that way. If you don't do it that way, I want to be in the other room. But really, I mean, because it's very, very likely that it will come out.
No, another question. You want the curvature of your bowl to kind of, like you said, at the end of the day, it looks like it's sitting above the surface. But couldn't you do that even like going into the edge of the tenon rather than creating a separate base?
So you're saying about the curve, you can't see it? I'm looking at the ghost image, I can see it. I'm looking at the ghost image, there's solid material.
Yeah, you can see it. I mean, even if you had imagine a base that was super thin instead of like you got there, maybe a 1/4 inch base.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, that's okay.
We'll discuss that on Saturday. I'm not done with that tenon yet. Because another thing is, I'm using jaws that require a parallel tenon instead of a dovetail. And it's got serrations or grooves in it to help it hold. And so you want to make sure this is very parallel. But with any jaw, whether it's parallel or dovetail, you want this little corner right here to be undercut a little bit, so that if it has a radius and you start to close your jaws up on it, as you close it, it pushes the piece away from the ends of your jaws, and therefore you have a weak hold. So the idea here is that if I undercut that just a little bit, even though it looks like a good 90. I undercut it a little bit, I'm not losing anything. I undercut it a little, and then so I know that when those jaws close up, they're not gonna push the wood away because of the radius that was left, say with a big tool like this. You see where that tool's got a radius in? There's only so much I can do with that, even when I roll it over 90 degrees. So, the answer to that is, I go to my second most important tool, and it is a convex bevel spindle gouge. And the spindle gouge means it's got a shallow flute. It comes with a hologram bevel on it, and I change them over to a convex, and then I polish that. I put it on 1,000 grit sandpaper, for 1 inch belt sander. And I polish that so that it's smooth as can be. And I can get in here and I ride the bevel on the left and I go in, and I ride the bevel on the right and I go in, and I ride the bevel until I get that little corner where I want it. And if I'm going to do a tenon with a dovetail, I also use this tool and I ride the bevel here, and I go about a third of the way down at the bottom to here. And then I go move up about a third, and I do it again, and I move up to the last third, and I do it again, and I do a very, very nice, clean cut dovetail tenon. So I'm going to improve that just a little bit. Right in that corner, roll the tool on it. My foot's facing dead left of me. Check, go on the other bevel and the other circle, and I'm dead to the right. And dead back in the left and right. And right now I've got a little tiny, I'm going to use this sometimes to do a little bit first. What I think I'll do, these tools are sharp, I'm sending them out, so please don't cut yourself. This is an example of the tail mount on that bevel. Level 45 degrees to the right. To the base set. Notice that I'm moving the handle from my rock the whole time in order to guide the tool in a curve rather than start. Too many people want to go straight tool nuts and intend to do this and just have a straight line. But if you do this, and you keep going, you make a curve. And the letters are kind of moving around a little bit, and probably just making sure that doesn't come out.
Hey, Don,
So,
are you kind of removing the ghost on that bottom third before you rechuck it? That,
you want
so you get the solid wood on the bottom third of that? Is that what you're working toward?
what I want to do is get to these points.
To the points, okay.
So there's a little flat right here on each one of them. And when I get that done, then I'll take this off
Reverse.
and I'll flip it around and put it in the chuck. But
So
yeah,
Don,
good question, thank you.
the points that you're working towards, because when you turned the cube originally, you sort of had two high peaks, right?
Yeah.
From the base, are you actually cutting through that first peak and then going to the furthest peak
Yeah.
away from the bottom? Is that correct?
So I'm going to work on this very briefly and then we'll flip it around. Get it around. And I'm trying to see if those changes are coming. I'm not taking too much off. Apologize for getting away from the camera, but the way that I'm making this cut, I'll put my eyes all over the top of it. Any questions? Sir?
It seems like you could also just make a bowl and then make 3 cuts on it. If you could make those 3 cuts, you would end up with the same shape.
Yeah. I think so. More fun doing it this way. No, for me, I detest flat work. You know, I really don't like flat work. You always measure wrong or cut something wrong. Oh, it's always off a little bit. You know. So you got that curve, looking pretty good now. And the way to do that is keep swinging that handle around. Think about, if you ever seen a sphere cutting system. What the sphere cutting system does is you put your tool in it and it works on a pivot that goes around and ends here. And that's what we're mimicking, that same motion. We're starting here. If I don't keep doing that, and I go forward, I end up with a flat. I don't want a flat. I'm going to do it straight. Turning the tool so it facing move. Top cutting there is about 8 millimeters less than the tool. And the cutting in the middle, 80% of the length of the top of the head. Does that make sense? I'm working between here and here, not out here, and not out here. Because I go here, I here, I cut roots. So I'm working on a long period of, edge, then it gives me the opportunity to make it a little nice slope. So if I get out on that part of it, and make that work, that's good work. You drop your handle down about 45 degrees, and it's over. You know what it is. That's talked to, but you feel the burl like this and go straight off the wheel. If you don't feel that, it just burns in the wood. All right, so we got to get this off here. That's work. I'm gonna turn it off.
Hey, Don, they're doing this a shear cut versus a shear scrape. You're doing a shear cut versus a shear scrape.
Yeah, the difference between a cut and a scrape is I'm going to get curls off like this and scrape and get sawdust. And in order to do a shear cut, I take this up off the bevel, but I'm not rolled way over like I do in a scrape. As I keep going further and further and further over this way, can y'all see that? As I go further and further this way, I get more and more and more into the scrape. When I get to about 1/8 of an inch gap here, I'm in a scrape that I want. If I start rotating this way, it'll start cutting. And that's what I do, well, that's what I use when I'm trying to recenter a piece after it's been turned around on the truck. I may get a chance to do that with this one. And if I don't do it, this will happen. If I don't recenter it after it's on the chuck, look carefully at the edges of this. What happened is the outside is not concentric with the inside because I didn't recenter the outside after I turned it over, turn it around. If you don't do that, any bolt, you're going to very likely end up with a thick side and a thin side. I've had people contact me who I've helped with wood turning. Something's wrong with my lathe. And you come on, look at it. Everything I've been turning has got a thick side and a thin side. I said, you remember the pencil trick? Oh, that's what's doing it. I'll show you the pencil trick. Some people bring this down and take out the silky saw, and the vacuum saw, and the ball, and they'll saw it. All I can do it on how this stuff. You might want to pay attention there, boy. See this? The stickers come off. I'm going to use my little simulator. I just want to share a little bit.
I got on glasses.
So before you move a piece, you got to think through it. I've done everything I need to do before I move it. I've got my curve up to the points, all three of them. I've got my base step. I've got my tenon. It's a little tight, but it's okay. Length of tenon is good. There's a little gap showing right here, which is perfect. It's nice and cylindrical. I've done my little undercut in the form. So I think I'm ready. How much for the tenon gauge? I'm tenon gauge free. loosen the tool stop. Snap that up. Okay. Put it in your pocket or in the trash, because it's the worst thing in the world when you step on the shop. It hurts. You're in there in your flip-flops, been turning all day, you step on it. So, remember I mentioned about my jaws closing up? If I would have left that tenon big or large, then I might have a problem when I'm tightening my jaws. This is no problem. Anybody who done these besides Harold? You did one, didn't you? Yeah. Jack. Did you have fun?
Can't say nothing.
Did you have as much fun as I had?
I always have fun when I turn into it, Don. Did fun, don't turn it.
The idea here is to have resting on the end of the jaw, go around it, around it. And when there's tightening points, place 2 on every chuck. Use them all. Just like on your Jacob's chuck, on your drill press. Don't just tighten one, tighten them all. And you'll find that a lot of times it'll tighten up a little more when you get another one. What'd I do?
Nothing.
Usually when she comes up, I've done something wrong.
I'm just readjusting the camera.
Forget to turn off the microphone. You're going, I can't believe that person in the third row. And there, I did get caught doing that one time. When I first started doing demos, somebody came in, turn your microphone off. Okay. It really did that, and I did put live to people when I was demos, you know, but I really did that. All I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to check the concentricity now that I've turned it around and put it into sunshine. Here's the pencil. Everybody get out a dollar and send it forward. And we'll run that pencil line from the base to the points. Base to the points. So when you're planing wood, people have told me this, if you were planing wood, then you put lines of the pencil down the length of your board, and as you trim it, you know, through the planer, when all those pencil lines disappear, you've made it the way you want. Till the pencil lines are gone, you have it. Yeah, I can see it's out already. So no matter how well I made it, no matter how well I made the tenon and so on, you're always off a little bit when you turn it around. Don't go through this step. So position the tool is low, and this is the shearing tool rest. Shearing tool rest means that I can drop the handle in another 30 degrees from the other tool rest, and that gives me the low angle that I need. And the hand set is more or less parallel out here, even though it's sort of, I can tell, I'm not going to be reading it. I hear the love and hours. That's a lot bigger. You gotta go wood. So you want to be crossing into the wood, you want to be crossing into the wood. See, I got the tool on me, I got the tool up on my head. And tool wheel. I see no fence line. Go ahead here.
Something's making
I think it's something. No, try it. I'm gonna call it good for now. It's not a lot, it's not a problem, but it's wrong. So, all this is waste, okay? Sure. I'm not bothered moving the tailstock, but I like to move the tailstock down. I mean, that's something. Out to 45 to the right. 45 to the right. Back to 45 to the right.
Don, 25 minutes. Don, 25 minutes.
All of this is some of that magnolia we got down there. That was 4 years ago, 5 years ago. There was big chainsaw and shafts and all this good stuff. You get there and I looked at it and goes, you get the feeling, you're going to talk to you. Pretty something. That was beautiful stuff. Yeah, I know.
Don, you ever consider boring that out with a Forster bit?
No. But I don't. Move the tool off a little bit this way, and then now I'm on like a little ball, and a little bit bigger ball, or a bigger ball. I like getting my hands and arms away from the floor. First of all, you don't have they're on four. They all get on four. That's it. See my bottom where it is, so I got that one tool and get it vibration. What I might do, because we're running a little short on time, I want to see more of the process. I may just leave this a little thick.
Don, have you ever made those larger?
Yeah. 7. like the bell horns, it's got 2 bells. These bells can touch. Turn the switch. Put them upside down. I see what happened to me. There's a wormhole right in the middle. And I've been sitting there trying to go around, get the wood on the outside down, 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 because of the darn hole that was in the middle I thought I made. And it was a worm. That's one I'll go with. That's my story. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. This is a little device that I use, came up with a while back, called a laser depth finder. And, okay, so when it's out, I can adjust it so the laser is just touching the head of that screw. And so when I put it inside the piece, well, I put it in the wormhole, until I do the wormhole is. And I know precisely where the inside bottom is. Okay? And then I say, well, the wall thickness is this much, and I want something for a foot. I'll probably just shear everything off south of this, this flat line. And that'll be the bottom of my foot. I can make a concave surface on it. This thing has saved me so many times. However, I was turning a bowl with somebody the other day, and we went through it because I made it go too deeply. Yeah, you never forgiven me yet, maybe.
The design opportunity.
I've had people mad at me. Maybe a little bit. This is a trick box carbon stand. I use it to support my, I got a little appliance here that's got a drill pushing in the middle, which will position the tailstop in the middle of the lathe. Works better.
2.5 Michael.
2.5.
Really get them all.
The other half's on the floor.
Anyway, I'll get this hole in here. Everything's going against me now. It's getting in a hurry. Look at these guys back there, they're all chuckling. I just see them. I see you, Bernie. Got a live center with a black 3/8 inch extension on it. I can now take the chuck off of it, so I have no more hardware on it. Iron hardware and pencils. So now I'm centered on against the jam chuck. And you can make these jam chucks yourself. You can buy them. This is a vacuum chuck that's been converted into a jam chuck. Blew out the hole. But anyway, so what I would do is bring this over, bring, and then take the little tiny 3/8 inch tool and go under and make my hole. So what has happened was, because I was using the reversing, and remember the woods are diagonal, so that the rain's running this way and just snap it out. So you see, but so anyway, so any size of foot I want from this diameter down. I can even go with no foot. So if you do a piece you just want to set on the table and rock, you can do it this way. Any other questions?
Thank you.